dogs. We're off to a wild start with Captain Potato taking the lead. Great name, by the way. Lobato is right on their tail, making those sharp turns look easy, while Lord of the Jungle is hanging tough in third. It's like a classic showdown between carbs comedy and the great outdoors. Let's see if anyone can catch up or if Captain Potato will mash the competition. Suzanne Greenberg and Chip Broman have successfully moved up to P9, executing a clean overtake on the gentleman. Meanwhile, Koki Beninity and Buonata have advanced to P12, passing both Rizaldi Adha and Sir Ironbot. In response, Rizaldi Adha and Sir Ironbot have managed to gain positions, now sitting at P13 after overtaking Duffdad and Viraservani. The race is showing some dynamic shifts in positions as drivers navigate the track. Cedric and Amiantha Krabi in their McLaren Senna are closely battling with Suzanne Greenberg and Chip Broman, who are driving the Alfa Romeo 3's Zagato for Savite. The tension is high as they jostle for position. Meanwhile, the gentleman in the Gambala Miguon is engaged in a tight contest for P9 against Le Croissant 1980 and Era 40, both piloting the Brabham BT62. In another development, Rizaldi Adha and Sir Ironbot have successfully moved up to P11 by overtaking New Texum and Issy 1212, adding to the dynamic shifts in the race standings. Rizaldi Adha and Sir Ironbot in the McLaren Senna have taken the lead in the battle for P11, closely followed by Hugrid 3 and Fania Shelgimi in the Brabham BT62. As they approach the hairpin, Rizaldi Adha makes a daring move on the inside, overtaking Sir Ironbot momentarily. However, Sir Ironbot counters quickly, reclaiming the position as they exit the turn. Hugrid 3 is not far behind, closing the gap and looking for an opportunity to overtake. Funyasho Gaming seems to be strategizing, maintaining a consistent pace while watching for any mistakes from the drivers ahead. The tension is building as they head into the next straight, with all four cars vying for that crucial P11 spot. Lord of the Jungle is currently holding fire in the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento, maintaining a narrow lead over Aminson and Yuzhjian in the Ferrari Monza Spohn, who are closely tailing him. The battle between them is intense, with frequent shifts in positioning as they navigate the track. In 15, Duff Dad and Varasevany in the McLaren Senna are engaged in a tight contest with Koki Beninati and Bulinator, who are also pushing hard in the Gembala Migwon. The gap between these two pairs is minimal, with each driver looking for an opportunity to gain an advantage. Hey, welcome back, Buchizaro. Party Popper, we missed your awesome vibes. Get ready for some high-speed AI action. Racing car dashing way. Duff Dad and Varasevany in the McLaren Senna are currently leading the fight for 15, closely pursued by Koki Beninati and Bulinator in the Gembala Migwon. As they approach the final sector, Duff Dad makes a defensive move to block Varasevany's attempt to overtake on the inside. Meanwhile, Koki Beninati takes advantage of the situation, closing the gap. Varasevany attempts an outside maneuver, but is unable to secure the position as they exit the corner. Koki Beninati is now right on their tail, looking for a chance to capitalize. Bulinator switches lines, trying to find an opening to help his teammate. The battle remains tight as they head down the straight, with no clear victor yet emerging as they enter the next turn. Work can be such a drag, right? Just think of it as fuel for your racing dreams. Racing car dashing away, and hey for Marka, what does that even mean? I feel like I'm missing out on some inside joke here. Face her with tears of joy. Bobado has successfully moved up to P2 after overtaking Captain Potato on the straight. In the mid-pack, Sabini 27, Kazashok, Duff Dad, and Varasevany are engaged in a tight battle for 16, exchanging positions frequently as they navigate through the corners. The race dynamics are intensifying as these drivers push for every inch of track. Sabina 27 and Kazashuk have both advanced to 16, successfully overtaking Duff Dad and Varasevany in a recent maneuver. The battle for 16 continues as Sabina 27 and Kazashuk are now closely contesting with Duff Dad and Varasevany, maintaining a tight formation. The dynamics in this segment are intense as they jockey for position. Duff, Dad and Berezevny have successfully moved up to 15 after overtaking Mutex and Issy 12-12. The maneuver was clean, showcasing solid racing skills as they navigated through the tight section of the track. Both drivers are now looking to maintain their pace and further advance in the standings. Meanwhile, the rest of the pack continues to battle closely behind. L'Aquasson 1980, Air 40, Hugger 3 and Funny Gaming are tightly bunched up, fighting for that crucial 10th position. Thai 1980 is currently leading this pack, holding off Air 40 who is right on his tail, looking for an opportunity to overtake. Piglet 3 is maintaining pressure just behind them, and Funny Gaming is not far behind, waiting for any mistakes from the trio ahead. The race dynamics here are intense as they navigate through the corners, each car trying to find its optimal line while keeping their position secure. Overtakes could happen at any moment as they approach the next straight. Tinkerman is 704, Unipaki, Hugger 3, and Funny Gaming are locked in an intense battle for P11, with all four cars closely following each other. Meanwhile, Duff Dad and Versevany are gaining on Koki Benignity and Bullinator, reducing the gap by 2 seconds, showing solid pace as they aim to catch up. The dynamics in this mid-pack fight are heating up. Bobado has taken the lead, moving up to pole after a successful overtake on Captain Potato. Captain Potato now sits in P2, having just overtaken both Eamon Sun and EU's John 7. Meanwhile, Duff Dad and Verasevani are closing in on Koki by Ninity and Bulinator, reducing the gap by 2 seconds. The race dynamics are shifting as positions change rapidly. Temkaminin 704 said, "Hey Amy, is it me, or does always seem like the Brabham always takes a long time to get the tires up to temperature? Haha, you might be onto something there. It seems like the Brabham is taking its sweet time to warm up those tires, like it's waiting for a cozy cup of coffee before hitting the track. Time to tell it to wake up. Hot beverage racing car." Tenkaminin 704 and Unapaki have made significant progress, advancing to Pate after successfully overtaking Lacroix 1980 and Air 40i. Meanwhile, Neo Texum and Isioni 1212 have also climbed the ranks, now sitting in P13 after passing Cedric and Anna Fakrabi. The race dynamics are shifting as these drivers gain momentum. Tenkaminin 704 and Unipaki are making significant progress, reducing the gap to Suzanne Greenberg and Ship Roman by 2 seconds. Both AI cars are displaying impressive speed and strategy as they approach the leaders. The dynamics in the pack are intensifying, with potential overtakes on the horizon. It will be interesting to see how this unfolds in the coming laps. Tenkaminin 704 and Unipaki have successfully moved up to 7, executing a precise overtake on Suzanne Greenberg and Ship Roman. The maneuver was clean, showcasing their strategic approach in the race dynamics. Suzanne and Ship Roman have now dropped to P8 and P9 respectively. The battle for positions continues to heat up as the race progresses. Zydrek and Emmenyampthakrabi have successfully closed the gap to Neotexum and Issy, 1212 by 2 seconds. They are gaining momentum, setting up for a potential overtake in the next few laps if they maintain this pace. Neotexum and Issy 1212 will need to defend their positions carefully as the competition intensifies. The dynamics among these 4 cars are shifting as we move deeper into the race. Cedric and Ianthacrabi have successfully reduced the distance to Neotexum and Tisione 1212 by 2.2 seconds, indicating a strong performance as they push forward. Meanwhile, Neotexum and Isione 1212 are maintaining their current pace, but will need to watch their rearview mirrors closely as the pressure builds from behind. The dynamics of the race are certainly shifting as Cedric and Ianthacrabi gain momentum. Neotexum and Isi 1212 have successfully moved up to P12 after executing a well-timed overtake on Suzanne Greenberg and Shipbroman. This maneuver has shifted the dynamics in the middle of the pack, positioning them for potential further advancements as the race progresses. Rizaldi Adha and Sirironbot have made significant progress, reducing the gap to Suzanne Greenberg and Shipbroman by 44.6 seconds. The dynamic between these four competitors is intensifying as they jockey for position on the track. With this reduction in time, it appears that an overtaking opportunity could be on the horizon if they maintain this pace. Currently, it's a tight race with all four cars closely positioned, setting the stage for potential strategic moves in the upcoming laps. Welcome back, Castle Rat. Castle Rat, glad to see you racing back into the action. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. Automobile, dashing away. Lord of the Jungle has successfully moved into P4, executing a clean overtake on Captain Potato. The maneuver was precise, utilizing optimal acceleration out of the last corner. Meanwhile, the top three remain unchanged, with Speed Demon maintaining a strong lead, followed by Turbo Tornado in P2 and Drift King in P3. The gap between the leaders is approximately 1.5 seconds, keeping the pressure on Turbo Tornado as they enter the next lap. Neotexum and Isi 1212 are gaining on Captain Potato, reducing the gap by 46 seconds. The competition is tightening, as they push hard to close in on the leader. Positioning is critical here, and it will be interesting to see if they can maintain this pace for an overtaking opportunity. Hook 3 and Funny Shell Gaming have successfully advanced to 6, executing a clean overtake on Amundsen and Yuzhun 7. This shift in position indicates a strategic maneuver as they capitalize on the slight opening created in the previous corner. The race is tightening as the competition heats up among these drivers. Neotexum and Isione 1212 are gaining on Amundsen and Yuzhun 7, reducing the gap to 46.4 seconds. The dynamic between these two pairs is intensifying as Neotexum and Isione 1212 push hard for an overtake. Currently, Aminsong and Yuja John 7 hold their positions, but the pressure is building. The next few laps could be crucial for any potential overtakes. Kokibaninity and Boulanator have reduced the gap to La Croissant 1980 and Air 40 by 2.2 seconds, making their way through the track with impressive speed. The battle for position is heating up as they approach the next turn. Meanwhile, behind them, there's a tight grouping of cars that could lead to more overtakes if they play their cards right. The dynamics are shifting as we approach the crucial moments of this race. Sidret and Ayantha Krabi have successfully reduced the gap to Neotexum and Issy 1212 by 2.1 seconds. They are now positioned just behind, indicating a potential challenge for position in the upcoming laps. The dynamics between these four drivers are becoming increasingly competitive as they navigate the track. La Croissant 1980 and Air 40 have successfully reduced the gap to Hogod 3 and Funya Shell Gaming by 2.5 seconds, intensifying the competition in the mid-pack. The positioning is tightening up as they approach the next curve. Meanwhile, Hugor 3 is defending well, maintaining a stable line to fend off the advancing pair. Overtakes could happen soon if they continue to close this distance. Lord of the Jungle has successfully moved into P2, executing a clean overtake on the Gentleman. Meanwhile, the Gentleman drops to P3. The gap between Lord of the Jungle and the leader is now approximately 2 seconds. The rest of the pack remains tightly bunched with several cars vying for position behind them. Aminson and Eus John 7 have made a significant move, advancing to 5 after overtaking 5 cars, including a pass on Captain Potato. Meanwhile, Kokibanenity and Bulinata are also on the move, gaining 4 positions to secure 7th. The field is tightening as these drivers push hard for better placements. The gentleman has taken the lead and is currently in pole after overtaking Lord of the Jungle. Meanwhile, Lord of the Jungle is aggressively closing the gap, reducing the distance to the gentleman by 33.2 seconds. The dynamics are shifting as both drivers push their limits. Aminzan and Yujan 7 have made significant progress, now occupying P3 after successfully overtaking Captain Potato. Captain Potato has responded by moving up to P4, managing to overtake both Kokibininity and Bulinator in the process. Kokibininity and Bulinator are now in 5 after their previous positions, having also overtaken Lord of the Jungle. The race dynamics are shifting rapidly as positions continue to change. Bobardo is now leading the race in pole after successfully overtaking the gentleman. P3 and Funia Shell Gaming have advanced to P12, overtaking both Lacroix 1980 and Era 40. Meanwhile, Lacroissant 1980 and Era 40 have also moved up to P13 by passing Duffdad and Varsevany. The positions are shifting rapidly as the drivers push their limits. Duffdad and Verisevany have significantly reduced the gap to Neotexum and Issy, 12 and 12, now trailing by 31.6 seconds. Lord of the Jungle has successfully executed an overtake on Tenkamin and 7-4, and Unipaki, advancing to Pfawer. Meanwhile, Suzanne Greenberg and Ship Roman have climbed to Pate after overtaking Kokibininity and Bullianator. The race is intensifying with these strategic moves. Rizaldi Ada and Sirironbot have significantly reduced the gap to Cydric and Eanthocrabi by 6:30 seconds, indicating a strong push as they navigate the track. Meanwhile, Aminsan and Ujujon 7 are also making progress, closing in on Bobardo by 3 seconds. The competition is intensifying as these groups tighten their formations in pursuit of their rivals. Neotexum and Issy 1212 are making significant progress, reducing the gap to Cydric and Eanthocrabi by 8.6 seconds. Meanwhile, Rizaldi Adha and Sirironbot have gained momentum, successfully moving up to P13 after overtaking both Cydric and Eanthocrabi. The race dynamics are shifting as these positions continue to change. Sabina 27 and Kersashuk have made significant progress, reducing the gap to Duftad and Varisevany by 2 seconds. They are now within striking distance as they approach the next turn. Meanwhile, Duftad and Varisevany are maintaining their positions, but will need to defend against the advancing duo. The dynamics of the race are heating up as the competition intensifies in this segment. Sabina 27 and Kersashuk have significantly closed the gap to Duftad and Varisevany by 2.6 seconds, indicating a strong push from both drivers. The battle for position is heating up as they are now within striking distance. Meanwhile, Duftad and Varisevany will need to bolster their pace to maintain their lead. This could lead to some interesting dynamics in the coming laps. Suzanne Greenberg in the Alfa Romeo ZS3 Zagato has just made a move on Chip Roman, taking 7 with a clean overtake. The gentleman from No Name Racing is closely trailing them in the Gambala MiG-1. There's a tight battle forming as all 3 cars are within a second of each other, with the Gambala looking to capitalize on any mistake from the drivers ahead. Chip Roman is keen to retake that position, and is now gearing up for an attempt down the next straight. Amin Sand and EU's John 7 have significantly reduced the gap to Babardo by 2 seconds. As they approach the final turn, both cars appear to be strategizing their next moves to capitalize on this opportunity. All 3 cars are now within a tight pack, setting the stage for potential overtakes as they head into the straightaway. Coquibinity and Bulinator have successfully closed the gap on La Corsa 1980 and Era 40 by 2.2 seconds, tightening the competition. The two AI-driven cars are gaining speed through Sector 2, utilizing better cornering techniques. Meanwhile, La Corsa 1980 has maintained a steady pace, but will need to defend against the approaching duo. The dynamics of this race are shifting as they all head into the upcoming hairpin turn. Amenson and Euzone 7 have successfully reduced the gap to Bobardo by 2.1 seconds, indicating a strong push from both drivers. Amenson is now within striking distance, while Euzone 7 appears to be maintaining a consistent pace, preparing for potential overtake. Bobardo will need to defend his position as the race dynamics shift in favor of the chasing pair. The tension is building as they approach the next corner. Amenson and Euzone 7 are gaining on Bobardo, reducing the gap to 2.1 seconds. They are maintaining high speed through the corners, and it looks like they might attempt an overtake soon if they keep this up. Bobardo needs to defend his position effectively to hold on to that lead. Meanwhile, the rest of the pack is also jostling for position in the midfield, with some close battles forming. Amenson and Euzone 7 are now just 2.3 seconds behind Bobardo, intensifying the competition for position. Meanwhile, Coquibinity and Bulinator are also making strides, narrowing the gap to La Corsa 1980 and Air 40 by 2.6 seconds. In a notable move, Sabini 27 and Kazashuk have advanced to 15 after successfully overtaking Neo Texan and Issy 1212. Coquibinity and Bulinator are making significant progress, now just 2.3 seconds behind La Corsa 1980 and Era 40. The gap is narrowing as they push their pace. Meanwhile, we have a change in positions further back, with Speedster in 101 overtaking Zenmaster 33 for 8th place. The race dynamics are tightening as the drivers strategize for their next moves. Suzanne Greenberg and Shipperman have successfully moved into Pate, executing a strategic overtake on the gentleman. The battle for that position is heating up, with all three cars closely matched in performance. Greenberg and Shipperman are piloting the Alfa Romeo Tizi Zagato, while the gentleman is in the Gambella Miguel. Current dynamics show that the Alfa is slightly faster in the corners, but the gentleman is applying pressure on the straights. It's a tight contest as they navigate through the track. Huggett 3 and Funnier Shell Gaming have successfully advanced to P9, executing a clean overtake on both Suzanne Greenberg and Shipperman. This move has shifted the dynamics of the race as they now push forward in the pack. Lord of the Jungle has successfully moved into P5 after a clean overtake on Captain Potato. The maneuver was well executed, utilizing the inside line on the last turn. Captain Potato drops down to 6 as a result. The gap between 4 and 5 is now approximately 2 seconds, indicating that Lord of the Jungle may be able to catch up soon. The gentleman is making significant progress, reducing the gap to Captain Potato by 47.2 seconds, indicating a strong pace. Meanwhile, Neotexum and Issy 1212 have successfully moved up to 14th place after overtaking both Duff Dad and Versavini. The race dynamics are shifting as positions change and teams strategize their next moves. Lord of the Jungle from No Name Racing has successfully moved into 4th position after a clean overtake on both Amundsen and Hughes John 7. Meanwhile, Duff Dad and Vera 70 have climbed to 16th place, overtaking Sabina 27 and Kadzishuk in a swift maneuver. The race is becoming increasingly competitive with these strategic moves. The gentleman has made significant progress, reducing his time gap to Captain Potato by 2 seconds. Meanwhile, in the pack behind, Turbo Tortoise is also gaining ground on Speed Demon, narrowing the distance to just 1.5 seconds. In midfield, Lightning Bolt executed a clean overtake on Drift King, moving up a position. As they approach the next turn, the race dynamics are shifting, with several drivers eyeing potential overtaking opportunities. Amundsen is currently in 5th position, closely followed by Jon Savin, who is also making significant progress. Both drivers are reeling in Lord of the Jungle, reducing the gap by 240 seconds in the last lap. The battle for 4th place is heating up as they approach the next turn. Lord of the Jungle will need to defend his position effectively to maintain his lead over these challengers. Welcome back, Moto 3. Dragon Sparkles, we've missed you. Grab some popcorn and get ready for some high-speed chaos with our AI drivers. Let's see who takes the victory lap today. Racing car dashing away. Amundsen and Jon Savin have significantly reduced the distance to Lord of the Jungle, now just 2.2 seconds behind. The two cars are displaying impressive speed and strategy as they approach the next corner. It will be interesting to see if they can maintain this momentum for an overtaking maneuver. Meanwhile, the rest of the pack is maintaining their positions, but the gap between the leaders is tightening. Amundsen and Jon Savin are now within striking distance of Lord of the Jungle, reducing the gap to just 2.1 seconds. They are both maintaining high speeds and utilizing optimal racing lines as they approach the corners. The pressure is on for Lord of the Jungle, as both competitors look to overtake in the upcoming lap. Duffdad and Barasevani have significantly narrowed the gap on Result Adha and Sirironbot, reducing it by 2.1 seconds. This move positions them closer in the race dynamics, indicating a potential overtaking opportunity if they maintain this pace. The AI cars are demonstrating strategic speed adjustments as they approach the next curve. Car 3 and Funya Shell Gaming are rapidly closing in on the gentleman, reducing the gap to 2.1 seconds. Meanwhile, the gentleman is maintaining speed but may need to defend against the approaching cars. Overtaking opportunities could arise shortly as they enter the next turn. The gentleman from No Name Racing has indeed made significant progress, reducing the gap to Captain Potato by 2 seconds. As they approach a tight corner, it appears the gentleman is preparing for a potential overtake. Meanwhile, behind them, Speed Demon from Turbotech is also gaining on the pack, closing in on 3rd place. The dynamics are shifting as we approach the next straight. Lord of the Jungle in the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento has taken a defensive line as Amin-san and Yuge John 7 in the Ferrari Monza spawn are right on his tail. They're currently entering the final sector, with Amin-san making an attempt to overtake on the inside. Lord of the Jungle is holding firm, but there's very little room to maneuver. As they exit the corner, Yuge John 7 tries to capitalize on this by taking a wider line and accelerating out. It looks like there's a brief moment of side-by-side racing between all 3 cars. Coming into the straight, Amin-san manages to pull ahead slightly, but Lord of the Jungle isn't giving up easily. They're approaching the braking zone for the next turn, and it's going to be a close call. Overtakes are imminent as they fight for that coveted 4th position. The tension is palpable. The gentleman is gaining ground on Captain Potato, reducing the gap to 2 seconds. The AI's acceleration seems to be improving, and looks like an overtaking maneuver could be on the horizon. Meanwhile, in the back, Turbo Tortoise is maintaining its position, but has not made any significant moves to close the distance to the leading pack. The tension is building as the gentleman approaches a tight corner that could set up for an overtake. Suzanne Greenberg and Chip Berman are currently gaining ground on Kokibinity and Bulinity, and boosting the gap by 2.1 seconds. This puts them just within striking distance as they navigate through the next series of turns. The dynamics are shifting as they approach the midpoint of the race, with potential for an overtaking maneuver. We'll see if they can maintain this momentum and position themselves for a pass. Lord of the Jungle is currently in Fa, closely followed by Amundsen and Eugene Selvin, both in their Ferrari Monza spawns. As they approach the hairpin turn, Amundsen makes a move on Lord of the Jungle, attempting to overtake on the inside line. Meanwhile, Eugene Selvin is maintaining a tight formation behind them, ready to capitalize on any mistake. Lord of the Jungle defends well, holding his position as they exit the turn. The gap between the three cars is minimal, with less than half a second separating them. As they head down the straight, Lord of the Jungle accelerates hard, trying to increase his lead, but Amundsen is right on his tail, looking for another opportunity. Eugene Selvin remains close, ready to strike at the slightest opening. The tension is building as they approach the next set of corners. Suzanne Greenberg and Chip Berman are making significant progress, reducing the gap to Kokibinity and Bulinator by 2.1 seconds. They are now just a few tenths behind, indicating an impending challenge for position. The pace is picking up as they approach the next corner, likely setting up for an overtaking maneuver scene. Lord of the Jungle has successfully moved into P3, executing a clean overtake on both Amin-san and Iyu's John 7. The maneuver was precise, showcasing excellent timing and control. Meanwhile, Amin-san drops to power, followed closely by Iyu's John 7 in 5. The race is becoming more competitive as positions shift. Captain Potato is rapidly closing the gap on Lord of the Jungle, now trailing by 565.6 seconds. Meanwhile, Hypercars 3 and Funny Shell Gaming have made significant moves, advancing to 7 after successfully overtaking Lacroix 1 1980 and Air 40. The race dynamics are shifting as these drivers push their limits. Hypercars 3 and Funny Shell Gaming are making significant progress as they close the gap to the gentlemen. They have managed to reduce the distance by 569.6 seconds, indicating a strong push in their pace. As they advance, the dynamics of the race will likely shift if this trend continues. The positions remain tight, and it will be interesting to see how the gentleman responds to this challenge. Captain Potato has significantly reduced the gap to Lord of the Jungle, now just 2.5 seconds behind. Meanwhile, Turbo Turtle is maintaining its position in 3rd, while Speed Demon is currently battling for 4th with Lightning Bolt, who has just executed an impressive overtake. The race dynamics are tightening as we approach the next turn. Captain Potato has reduced the gap to Lord of the Jungle to 2.4 seconds, showing strong pace. Meanwhile, Speed Demon is just behind them and is looking to capitalize on any mistakes from the leaders. The distance between Speed Demon and Captain Potato is approximately 1 second. In the midfield, Turbo Tiger has executed a clean overtake on Racing Rakino, gaining an important position. Race dynamics are shifting as these drivers jockey for position. Captain Potato is now just 2.7 seconds behind Tenkamin in 7-4, and Unapoki, making significant progress. Koki Beninity and Bulinator have advanced to P9 after successfully overtaking Suzanne Greenberg and Shipperman. Meanwhile, Suzanne Greenberg and Shipperman have retaliated, moving back up to Pen by passing La Croissant 1980 and Era 40. The race dynamics are shifting rapidly. Neotexum and Isione 1212 are currently catching up to Cedric and Amphikrabi, reducing the gap significantly by 586.9 seconds. Captain Potato is also making progress, decreasing the distance to Tenkamen 704 and Onipoki by 2.8 seconds. The race dynamics are clearly shifting as positions tighten. Captain Potato has indeed reduced the gap to Tenkamen 704 and Onipaki by 2 seconds. The tension is building as he approaches their positions, looking for an opportunity to overtake. Tenkamen 704 holds a solid line, but Onipaki appears to be slightly slower in the corners. Captain Potato is positioning himself for a potential move on the inside. Meanwhile, behind them, we have Rysum Cracer gaining ground on the leaders, showing impressive speed through the straightaways. The dynamics are shifting as Captain Potato looks to capitalize on any mistake from the cars ahead. Captain Potato from Team Racing Potatoes is making significant strides, narrowing the gap to Tenkamen 704 and Onipoki by 2.6 seconds. The positioning indicates a potential overtaking maneuver if he maintains this pace. Tenkamen 704 and Onipoki are currently holding their positions, but with Captain Potato's momentum, we could see an interesting battle for track position soon. Captain Potato is making significant progress, reducing the gap to Tenkamen 700 and Onipoki by 2.4 seconds. Tenkamen 704 maintains a steady pace in second place, while Onipoki holds onto the lead. The dynamics between these three cars are shifting as Captain Potato closes in. Overtaking opportunities may rise shortly if this trend continues. Captain Potato has gained significant ground on Tenkamen 704 and Onipoki, reducing the distance by 2 seconds. Meanwhile, Onipoki is maintaining a steady pace that is under pressure from Captain Potato. Tenkamen 704 appears to be holding position, but with the gap closing, we may soon see an overtaking attempt from Captain Potato if the momentum continues. Attention, Mom, Amsti.
ya, boys.